Good morning, everyone. Permanent Secretary, Mr. Alva Brown, Ministry of Youth, Sport and Culture. Mr. Kurt Ross, Chairman of the Spicemas Corporation. Ms. Frances Purcell, Deputy Chairman of the Spicemas Corporation. Mr. Christopher Phillip, Financial Director, Spicemas Corporation. ACP John Mitchell, Chief Executive Officer of the Spicemas Corporation, Mr. Cecil Noel. Chief Operations Officer of the Grenada Tourism Authority, Ms. Curl Hostialik. Directors, members of the media, to you, the viewers, via Mikey Live and Spicemas Corporation, we wish you a very good morning. Before we begin the proceedings, I'd like to, of course, invite the Lord into our presence, and I'm going to invite our director, Mr. Sylvan Chan, to lead us in a word of prayer. Mr. Chan.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. As we gather here this morning, it is right and proper to accept our Lord and ask for his blessings. Almighty Father, we come to you with the belief and trust as you are our protector and guiding light. We thank you for giving us life and giving us this beautiful day. We ask for your protection and guidance this morning as we present to the public our Spicemas Evolution Carnival activities. Please bless our presenters at the head table, fellow directors, Spicemas staff, and the media present here this morning, and also those who are online. We ask for your continuous blessings in your holy, precious name. Amen.
Thank you, Director Chan. We are excited to kick off this media launch of Spicemas, Grenada's vibrant celebration of culture and heritage. Let's come together to embrace our traditions, music, art, and all that makes Spicemas great. Let's make Spicemas 2023 the best ever. To begin, I would like to invite our chairman, Mr. Kurt Ross, to offer some welcome remarks. Mr. Ross.
A pleasant good morning and warm welcome to the PS, Alva, Mr. Alva, and other members of the head table, fellow directors, the media, and everyone here today. Spicemas Evolution is for our 2023 launch. That's the concept. As per usual, Spicemas is scheduled to take place between the 1st and 15th of August. However, this year we are emphasizing on highlighting a different form of our traditional mass, the jab-jab, the short knee, wild Indian, vgh'n, just to name a few. These forms of mass add a unique aspect to Grenada Carnival that would distinguish us when compared to other regions and internationally in the diaspora. And this also helps in aiding passing on our history to the younger generation who often looked to other cultural influence and their practice and belief. As indicated before, the 2023 Spicemas theme, The Evolution, is our plan to bring versatility, comfort, and overall pride. As a board, we will listen to all the stakeholders involved and will be the body that cause a positive change in the deliverance and execution of Spicemas 2023 and beyond. So I would like to welcome you all again as we go forward. The CEO would basically lay out the concept of what the board and has been mandated to do in order to make 2023 Spicemas and beyond the evolution of success. And I would like to, first of all, say thanks to my hardworking board members as we pursue this hard task together. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, Mr. Ross. I'd now like to invite the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Culture, Mr. Alva Brown, to make some remarks. Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Master of Ceremonies, Chairman of the SMC, Mr. Ross, other members of the board, GTA representative, RGPF, Republic Bank, and the media, those viewing us online and elsewhere. Good morning. Spicemas is our premier cultural showcase, extravaganza festival. It brings together skills and talents of our calypso and soca artists, our wire benders, our steel pan players, our creatives, and so much more in the Grenadian society. It brings together stakeholders in a collaborative effort that creates a tremendous amount of economic activity that trickles down to every aspect of Grenadian life. Spicemas has become a regional and international brand, a multi-million-dollar industry. And so, at this stage, we have no choice but to ensure that we get it right. We have no choice but to be deliberate in our efforts to ensure that while we evolve, while this year's theme is the evolution, we ensure that we keep the authenticity of what is Spicemas. So as we launch here today, I ask for the collaboration of all concerned, all the major stakeholders, that we work together in a collaborative effort with mutual respect and understanding. An understanding that we can all benefit as a result. I'd like us as stakeholders, major stakeholders, to understand that in our negotiations and discussions, as we try to get the best for our various sectors, that our end game should always be win-win. This is not a zero-sum game. We all know too well sometimes the controversies that evolve around Carnival time between and among various stakeholders in the industry. And so this year, I want us to, as we evolve and ensure that we keep the authenticity of what is Spicemas, that our stakeholders keep ever present in the back of their minds, that this must be win-win for all. There's no zero-sum game here. Therefore, I want to call on the private sector to step up. I want to call on all of the creatives in the industry to step up. Make your contribution. We all have a stake in this. Spicemas is now known for being the best carnival in the region. Some people may debate that, but we're sticking to that. Spicemas is now and has become the best carnival in the region. And let us work together. Put all our energies into ensuring that we continue to build, that we maintain, and we continue to preserve what is Spicemas. So the ministry and by extension the government of Grenada will continue to provide the necessary resources, human and material, to ensure that Spicemas turns out to be that grand festival that it always is. This year we're staging a festival fully away from the restrictions of the COVID pandemic. So let us all give our best to ensure that Spicemas 2023 is bigger and better. Thank you.
Thank you, P.S. Alva Brown, and I'd like to echo your sentiments. Spicemas is the best carnival in the region, and it's going to be bigger and better in 2023. I would now like to invite our chairman, Mr. Cecil, our CEO, Mr. Cecil Noel, to present to you on all things Spicemas for 2023. Mr. Noel.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremonies. P.S. Alva Brown, Permanent Secretary, Ministry for Youth, Sports and Culture. Mr. Kurt Ross, Chairman of Spicemas Corporation. Ms. Frances Purcell, Deputy Chair of Spicemas Corporation. Mr. Christopher Phillip, Financial Director. ACP John Mitchell, representative from the Royal Grenada Police Force. Ms. Curl Kostialik, Chief Operation Officer, Grenada Tourism Authority. A very pleasant good morning to all of you, the members of the media. Good morning, all. Before my presentation, I would like to introduce you to the Spicemas team. The team responsible for planning, organizing, and executing Spicemas. I'm referring here to the people who are working assiduously to make Spicemas a resounding success. First of all, Board of Directors. Mr. Kurt Ross, Chairman. Ms. Frances Purcell, who has the responsibility for human resource and is also the Deputy Chair. Ms. Siobhan Lloyd, with the responsibility for legal and also responsible for the Queen Pageant. Mr. Christopher Phillip, business responsible for finance. And maybe folks, you can just stand and let the people see who you are, please, as you go forward. Mr. Mario Castle, from the creative industry. Mrs. Dolores Winsborough, representing culture. Mr. Edwin Francis from the National Lotteries Authority. ACP John Mitchell, Royal Grenada Police Force. Mr. Victor Ashby, representing the Pan Fraternity Steel Band. Mr. Sylvan Chan, representing Calypso and Soca. And we also have with us Mr. Kurt Sitahal, who is consultant to the Board of Directors. And your humble servant, Mr. Sistonwell, as Chief Executive Officer. The work cannot be done without these people. And I would like to take the time to acknowledge the hard work and dedication of the staff. Ms. Della Callis, Ms. Julian George at the back there, Ms. Siobhan Francis, Mr. Anderson Antoine, and Mr. Theo Connaught. These are the people assigned to the staff who work with me to make sure what needs to happen, who coordinate with the directors to make sure that Spicemas does in fact come true. Thank you very much, team. Before we go further, I just want to remind everyone, although we stand here for the launch, media launch, Friday, the 28th is a very important day on our calendar, as we will in fact have that official launch of Spicemas. In my presentation, going forward, the focus will really be on the theme, de-evolution. We will also speak a bit on the calendar of events, the routes, time, and all other important matters. A synopsis of the evolution. Our focus is to find innovative ways to transform Spicemas as it depicts our culture and creative expressions by fusing our uniquely rich heritage into modern expressions through creativity and fun while maintaining our unmistakably Grenadian identity, and that is absolutely important. The theme, the evolution, was specifically chosen to represent what we want to accomplish for Spicemas 2023 and beyond. It is transforming our cultural and creative expressions by fusing our uniquely rich traditions into modern expressions through creativity and fun while maintaining, as I said before, our unmistakably Grenadian identity. We want to evolutionize the way we do things. The policies, the procedures, our events, and all the elements of Spicemas. What does the evolution entail? Putting more emphasis on and offering more support to traditional mass. Traditional mass is the backbone of our culture. Yes, our heritage. This year, you can expect to see more of our traditional mass. Revolutionizing the quality of events. We're going to make sure events are started on time and that the execution of the events is seamless for all and drives increased participation. The evolution involves having more stakeholder meetings with all of the associations and persons involved in making Spicemas what it is and what we all would want it to be going forward. By listening and gaining feedback, we can make adjustments to our policies to evolve our culture. This is a continuous process, and even as I do this presentation, I can assure you we are still having ongoing conversation with stakeholders. This evolution cannot be done by Spicemas team only. We need you, the stakeholders, to get involved, especially the business community, potential sponsors, as benefits, especially the financial returns, are plentiful during Spicemas. And we don't need to in any way find ways to justify that. With the influx of people coming into our island, there's a lot more people spending in all different areas and sectors of our society. At this stage, I thank all the business entities who have partnered with us thus far. And I encourage those who have not to come forward, get on board, and to make their contribution. It is needed. Masqueraders, we have listened to you, and we want to involve your experience on the road. This year, masqueraders will get to cross the stage. Yes, the stage will be erected at the Roy St. John's playing field at Tantine. We have adjusted the starting time for the various events on the road to enhance your experience, as well as make sure spectators can come out in their numbers and witness the best carnival in the region. Undoubtedly, the best in the region. Our National Carnival Queen pageant has already started evolving. We had a casting call for young ladies throughout Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. 18 beautiful, intelligent young women accepted the call and showcased their ability to represent their parishes. 7 young ladies have been chosen and are undergoing a series of training, workshops, and learning from the experiences of our reigning queen and the trainers. This will better prepare them to give you a queen pageant to remember. The National Queen pageant will be held at the National Stadium this year. In addition, the contestants will be at the official launch of Spicemas this Friday, and we're encouraging everyone to come out, see the ladies, and render your support. The power and groovy soca and calypso monarch will also evolve this year. Increased prizes in cash and kind. The power soca monarch, for example, will get to participate and represent Grenada at regional events. Artists, start writing your songs. Start planning your performances. We have great things to look forward to. Though not yet finalized, new innovations will be added to Panorama. And we are encouraging all to come out and experience and enjoy sweet steel pan music. We're encouraging you, when the band started practicing, to go out to the pan houses and get a feel for what is to come. Ladies and gentlemen, this evolution starts with us at Spicemas, but it ends with all of you. Let us come together and evolve and evolutionize our Spicemas experience in 2023 and beyond. And I'll move forward. And let me state as I go forward the rest of my presentation, as stated before, we are very dynamic in what we're doing. As we evolutionize, there are possibilities that there will be changes or adjustment to what we're doing. However, we have thus far had engagement with all the various stakeholders. And as a result, we have put together a calendar of events which we will share with you. Before I go to the calendar of events, I just take you through some of the routes. Juve. And again, as I say, this is proposed because we are still waiting to ensure that we have all the necessary clearance from stakeholders, including what's going to happen on the road with the police force and so forth. But the proposed route for Juve, we start at Belmont, on Panday intersection, into Karani James Boulevard, Port Highway, onto Burns Point roundabout. Now, for those of you looking, you may notice that I have in brackets, Tantine Main Road, Port Highway, Reno back to Port Highway. We are not quite clear in terms of the number of bands that will be participating and the size of the bands at this stage. As a result of that, in order to plan ahead, we are thinking that based on the size of the bands, we may have to do a loop around the Tantine area. If not, we will proceed into the carriage. From a discussion with the stakeholders, especially the Old Mass, they are asking and clamoring to have an area basically free whereby they can display their placards and have people really take in what is being presented on Old Mass. So as it is now, we are looking at the possibility of using the carriage area, that's the only part of the Juve morning, so that the Old Mass can actually get to masquerade and have their display in a manner that people can really see and enjoy. For pageant, and by the way, let me add, from the discussion, we expect to have a very good input of Old Mass on the road this year. For the pageant, the route we're looking at again, starting at Belmont, Mount Pandy intersection, and basically following the same route through Kirani James Boulevard, Port Highway, and onto the stage at Roy St. John's playing field. And I want to just pause here. It is important that we have the mass bands parade on stage. This is a significant aspect. And from the discussions we are having with them thus far, we are asking that the bands remain in sections so that the beauty of what is being displayed can be seen. And with that in mind, we are going to construct a stage at the Roy St. John's playing field so that the bands can come through there in section before getting back onto the street. And as you see it follow likewise, as above from the playing field, we go back to Port Highway, Burns Point. And again, I'm just making a point that as we plan this, we're still waiting clearance and additional assistance from people like the ministry. Because, just to be clear, for those of you who know Tantine, we will have to do some work there to make sure this flows and flows well in terms of access in and out of Tantine. Work in progress. Monday night mass. For Monday night mass, we will start at the Grandlands Post Office, up to Belmont Pandy intersection, Kirani James Boulevard, Port Highway, Burns Point, and on to Carenage. And the parade of the band is going to take a similar route to that of pageant. That's on Tuesday. Again, we start at Belmont Mount Pandy intersection and come all the way up and again go through the stage, on stage at Tantine. So that takes care of the route. The calendar of events. And as we have it up here, sorry, a little distance for me. It seems like I have to do a little juggling. 1 minute, sorry. Yeah. So for the calendar of events, on April 28, that's this coming Friday, we have our official launch at the Kirani James Car Park. On May 7th, we have the Spicemas New York, the launch of Spicemas in New York. From June 30th to July 2nd, we have the soca quarterfinals. July 7 to 9, the groovy quarterfinals. July 11 to 15th, the Calypso tent judging. July 20th, Brian Griffith groovy semifinals, and that will be at Progress Park. On July the 21st, Dr. Trevor Friday Soca Monarch semifinals, also at Progress Park. On July 22nd, the Traditional Mass Festival, that will be at St. Mark's. On July 23rd, the Melody Papitet Calypso semifinals, also at Progress Park. And August 5th, Children's Carnival Frolic, that will be at the National Stadium. August 6th, Majestic Sunday, National Carnival Queen Pageant, also at the stadium. And we are really happy to announce that because we're looking for bigger space. We plan to have a large number of persons coming out to support the young ladies. Yes, we're going to make it intimate because we are going to put a stage closer to the audience, which is what was requested, both from the spectators as well as the young ladies. We know how important it is. So again, we're asking you, please come out. Likewise, the panorama, which will be on the 12th. I just jumped it. That stage with intimacy will also be provided to make sure that the patrons do get to enjoy it. The Calypso finals. All for now, as I said before, it's scheduled for Progress Park based on the discussion had, but we also have ongoing discussions on that, and that will be eventually finalized, and we will let people know if there are any changes there. Bacchanal Friday, Soca and Groovy Monarch will be at the National Stadium. And then we will go on to August 14th, the Monday, that's Juve, Pageant, and Monday Night Mass. And we end August 15th, Parade of the Band, and Last Slap. So that's a look at the proposed calendar of events. One of the major hurdles we have experienced in the years, and which we're hoping to address this year, is to have the events start and end on time. For Juve, we are encouraging people to come out early, to come out as early as 4 and start preparing themselves so that we can have a start as early, or I should say no later than 5. Why is that important? We want to make sure that those who are involved in Juve, both spectators as well as those masquerading, get a chance to demonstrate as much as they can. So the earlier we start is going to be better for all of us. I already gave you the route, so think of it. Now, the plan is to start cutting off Juve by 9. And when I say cut off, and I would like the listening public out there, as well as the people involved with the mass bands, or I should say the bands on for Juve, to understand the importance of us having a cut-off time. So with the help of the Royal Grenada Police Force and the marshals, we'll be able to inform people maybe in the next half an hour it needs to happen. Why? On Monday, we still have pageant. After Juve, the streets need to be clean. We need to sand the road to make sure it's safe for those that's going to be operating in the pageant, including the people using vehicles. So it's important that the public and the people who are masquerading understand that it is critical that we have that cutoff time to prepare for the pageant. The pageant, the proposed time that we have for starting pageant is 1 p.m. and it goes up to 6 p.m. Monday night mass follows. And we also know the challenges we were faced with over the years with Monday night mass. People gathering at the Kirani James Boulevard and waiting there for hours and seeing nothing. This is why we're asking people to work with us so we can have that cutoff time of 6 p.m. for pageant, so people can get themselves ready for Monday night mass. We are looking to start Monday night mass no later than 8 p.m. And I would say by 1 p.m. we're looking to start, asking people to turn off because we have to get ready for Tuesday. So Monday night mass, we're looking at a time of 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. And then we come to Tuesday, parade of the band. And the plan is to start 11 a.m. And of course, we know we have last lap, and we go all the way up to midnight. We really need everyone to heed and to work with us to make sure the start times are adhered to. Because without this, it's going to cause problem in terms of the flow of the entire festival and events for Spicemas. And by the way, although I give you this for the road, the start times also include for the other shows. So when, for example, we say Queen Show would start at a particular time, if you're not there, you're going to miss. When we tell you Panorama start at a particular time, if you're not there, you're going to miss. And we're encouraging you to come out. We don't want you to miss anything. Next, I spent a little while talking about prizes. We have heard the clamor over the years, and we have in fact taken the bold decision that all the major stakeholders in terms of prize money will be increased. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at this 10%, and I know from the calculations I've done, it's way beyond that. But I'm saying all the major prize monies will be increased in excess of 10%. You could look forward to that. For the National Carnival Queen, we have a very special package for the winner. That young lady will get a scholarship, compliments the Ministry of Education. And we see this as very important because the quality of our girls or young ladies and what we expect of them, we know that education is one of the main things that they need to get them where they want to go. So we have embarked to work along with the ministry to ensure that we can provide that scholarship in addition to the prize monies. The winner of the Power Soca, that person also stands to benefit, as that person will be participating or will have the opportunity to participate in the OECS Soca Monarch, all expense paid by Spicemas. And that is in addition to his cash prize. Just a few comments as it regards to subvention. At present, we are reviewing the policies on subvention, and we think it is very important to do that. As we are all aware, for years, Spicemas has operated at a deficit. We are never able to make the amount of money that we spend. However, knowing that there is no real price on culture, and we cannot put a price on culture, we have continued over the years to assist the main stakeholders by providing subvention. But as I say, we are reviewing the policies on how we go forward. For the people receiving subventions as well as getting concession, we are also asking them to please let us have some better accounting practice in terms of how you account for the subventions we're giving to you. Because it's important that we at Spicemas to have that clear for auditing purposes. The truth is, failure to do it in a way that is not proper will only affect you. So we're asking you to please do what is requested. We are also looking at prioritizing the disbursements of subvention. And one of the reasons why I chose to put that one up, you heard earlier from me, you heard from the PS, you also heard from the chairman, how important it is for us to keep our traditional mass alive. A number of them over the years have basically dwindled, whether it's the shortney, the vgh'n, the wild Indian, the donkey mass, the old mass on the street. They have dwindled to the point where almost extinct. And we at Spicemas are making an effort to ensure that our tradition survives, that it lives. And lastly, for the people receiving subvention, we are asking you please to use these cash as some form of investment so you can better help your organization going forward. And I think it's just fitting to end on some social and moral responsibilities. It is one thing to put on Spicemas and encourage you to come to it, but we are fully aware that we must be mindful of a couple things. So for example, we're inviting you out to the shows. Come out, support. But in so doing, please manage your finances wisely. It is extremely important. For those parents, and we know that is something that happened, a lot of the parents will be attending, we're asking you to ensure that your children are left in safekeeping. Too often we hear of those sad stories which we don't want to be associated with Spicemas or nowhere at all. We are asking as a people that we see the need to dress more modestly. When drinking, we ask that you drink responsibly. And we ask you, please, don't drive under the influence of alcohol. We have seen the rapid increase in the number of accidents, many of which are fatal on the road. Carnival is a time to express our culture. It is not a time when we want to be expressing it, having to go to the church or to hospital. So we're asking you to be mindful of that. And we ask you as well, for those of you, as we seek to work along with the church communities, to honor your spiritual responsibilities, to send out a message to help our people to do what is necessary for this our activity to be one that we truly enjoy. Remember, there is life after Spicemas. To our artists, we're saying to you, please let your lyrics be positive and uplifting. We think it's part of our social responsibility to remind you of that as well. Let us all come together and evolve Spicemas 2023 into an explosion of uniquely Grenadian cultural expression. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Noel, for that wealth of information. While we confidently boast of having the best carnival in the region, every year we hear the cries. We hear the cries of not being able to get to Grenada, the cost of getting to Grenada, there not being enough flights. One of our vital partners at the Spicemas Corporation is the Grenada Tourism Authority. We cannot do it without them. They're there every year, not only during Spicemas, but always promoting our national festival. So I am delighted to introduce the Chief Operations Officer, Mrs. Curl Hostialik to make some remarks. Ms. Hostiali.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Masters of Ceremonies, Mr. Kirksita. And he kind of made my job a little bit easier this morning because he kind of said what I was going to say, But good morning, everyone. Certainly, we at the Grenada Tourism Authority is proud to support the efforts of Spicemas Corporation to stage our biggest cultural festival. The excitement is certainly building, and reports from our overseas markets indicate that there's a definite buzz for Spicemas, the evolution. We at the GTA continue to relentlessly promote our premier cultural event, illustrating Grenada's rich and vibrant history throughout traditional mass and the carnival's uniqueness with its fancy mass, our juve, our calypso and soca, and our steel pan orchestras, and of course the juve. Now, it is important for us to understand that we, the GTA, are on the same page with the Spicemas Corporation. Your CEO spoke about the authenticity. Your chairman spoke about the authenticity and the traditions and the importance of that. And then our permanent secretary, P.S. Brown, as well spoke about that. And it is really very important for us, if we need to maintain that USP, that brand called Spicemas, that uniqueness that we are known for as Grenada, that we need to be able to continue to do that and to do that well. Now, airlift, right? So we want people to get here. Now, to augment our regularly scheduled direct flights out of North America, we are going to see an additional service from New York via JetBlue and Caribbean Airlines. From August 7th to September the 1st, JetBlue will operate a second daily direct flight from New York, departing JFK at 9:50 p.m. So that's going to be arriving in Grenada at 2:47, so it's going to be a red-eye flight. Caribbean Airlines will operate 2 direct flights from JFK, one on August the 8th and one on August the 11th. And Caribbean Airlines, again, they are going to be supporting and providing or operating 2 direct flights from Toronto, Pearson International Airport on this August 7th and 8th. So we got some really, really strong flights coming in, and we have a lot of people who are already booking. So the flights are really, really looking good, and it was important to have those additional services added. Now, from the United Kingdom across the Atlantic, we have British Airways will continue to operate its 3 days a week service, Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And we have Virgin Atlantic operating on Tuesdays and Fridays. Now, from the region, we have Caribbean Airlines and Inter-Caribbean Airways, and they continue to offer their daily connectivity between Trinidad, Barbados, and St. Vincent. And we have Liat, who's going to be providing twice weekly service on Mondays and Thursdays. SVG Air is also a great way to connect to Grenada, and you can connect via St. Vincent and Grenada 5 days a week. So there are a number of options that are out there to get to Spicemas. Our Spicemas exit surveys. So the Grenada Tourism Authority will be doing our exit surveys once the period is completed. This will be conducted at the Morris Bishop International Airport, and this survey will go for over a 20-day period. This survey will provide us with not only qualitative but quantitative data, which will drive decision-making and planning going forward. So we will hear what people have to say, they'll give us their likes, their dislikes, how much they've actually spent, which events they actually spent at. So we actually get some really, really good data that we can utilize going forward. Now, when it comes to accommodation in Grenada, there's an option to suit every traveler type. From luxury resorts to boutique hotels, villas, guest houses, inns, bed and breakfasts, apartments. Now, the Pure Grenada website displays our registered accommodation options. If you are not registered, please register. But I strongly recommend anybody who is waiting to book their room to please do so now. Don't consider this early, consider this late. So please book your accommodation and visit us at puregrenada.com. There is also no shortage of things to do during Spicemas. In between the shows, the fetes and events, and all of the activities that were shared with us by the CEO today, we want you also to explore when you come. We want you to visit Belmont Estate, which was voted the number one attraction in the Caribbean, or our underwater sculpture park, which is the first in the world. You can also take a culinary safari for a delicious farm-to-table dining experience. So there's a number of things that you can do. After Spicemas, looking for a cool down, guess what? We have our sister isles of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Visit Sandy Island, go to Paradise Beach or Sanchez Beach in Petit Martinique, or just stroll through our quaint streets of Hillsborough. Now, if you're waiting to book your flight, don't wait too long, please. All right, the wait is over. Spicemas Media launch is here. The launch is coming on Friday. You know, you really do need to book. If you are in the diaspora and you are coming with your posse, please make sure to register to become a 473 Connect ambassador. So visit 473connect.com to learn more and to see all the various discounts and specials that you can actually get from a number of our partners across the board. We look forward to welcoming, of course, everyone to for the best 2 weeks. Best 2 weeks, right? Definitely the best 2 weeks that we're going to be looking forward for through Spicemas The Evolution. So 2 weeks in August, and we welcome everybody to come down to Grenada. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Ostialik. I'd now like to invite ACP John Mitchell of the Royal Grenada Police Force and also Director on the Board of Spicemas Corporation to make some remarks when it comes to safety and security. ACP Mitchell.
I think I have to adjust this a little bit. Thank you very much, and may I stand on the protocol that was established before. And let me say a pleasant good morning to each and every one, to my colleagues at the head table, to the media for being here, and also to our most valuable and important persons, those who are listening, the general public, or general listening audience, and our stakeholders. It is certainly a privilege to be a part of this process and to be able to give some brief remarks with regards to the law enforcement component of Spicemas. So certainly on behalf of the Commissioner of Police, or Acting Commissioner of Police, I would like to assure the general public that the Royal Grenada Police Force is prepared and fully committed to ensure the safety and security of our carnival. The overarching context of this morning's conversation is to serve as a precursor, following which a more detailed and comprehensive dialogue will be held with the general public by our several specialized departments, where information will be further segmented, compartmentalized, drilled down on, so that it will be digested and absorbed by the general public. What is our objective? It is a very simple, very pointed and straightforward one. That being said, however, it will involve a comprehensive and meticulous planning process that will involve, from the RGPF standpoint and inclusive of Spicemas and other agencies, tabletop exercises, contingency planning, crisis management planning, execution, and continuous evaluation to achieve our outcomes. And we do this as we continue to segue and transition from one event to the other. So, certainly our objective, as I stated before, is simple, but it's to create a sustainable and enabling environment that ensures the safety and security of all of our citizens, our visitors, patrons, spectators for the carnival period. Importantly, the approach to policing carnival activities are multi-layered and will begin well before scheduled events and activities. The strategic element and operational expectations, some aspects are public education. I spoke before in terms of the departments, the specialized department giving their information. Information such as explaining our carnival rules, crime prevention tips, traffic arrangements in a general context and for specific events. Events also, management of events. And I heard our CEO mention the whole issue of time management with regards to the bands, patrons, and spectators. One of the key issues that must be highlighted is that of permission for events. And so organizers must ensure that they obtain the relevant permission from the Spicemas, also from the Royal Grenada Police Force, and yes, there is a component from the Inland Revenue. What would you see, or what do you expect to see during our enforcement activities? Certainly you would see preemptive patrols, whether they be covert or overt patrols, and with emphasis on hotspots and vulnerable communities, attraction sites, and places of entertainment. We will also have a component of maritime operation where our Coast Guard will support the overall strategy. Stakeholders' cooperation or collaboration, and that is a significant aspect. So as it relates to our command and control, we would have stakeholders such as persons from government ministries, private security, NADMA, health, to be a part of the command and control structure. The police force will completely mobilize its staff, meaning that all persons who are on leave, pass, and off duty will be called in to augment the operating staff. Some of the observable strategies that you are going to see is a gradual escalation or increase in law enforcement presence. And you would see that around the towns, hotspots, communities, and especially more so during events. There will be a continuous double vehicular checkpoint, meaning that there will be a comprehensive vehicular checkpoint at each parish during major event, and also there will be checkpoints in the suburbs surrounding the events or major events. You will also certainly see an gradual increase in escalation of foot patrols and mobile patrols, especially within the immediate vicinity of events. Soft ticket checkpoints. It is important for the proper facilitation and seamless transition and movements of patrons at event that soft ticket checkpoint will be established by the RGPF. Additionally, we will have comprehensive entry screening. So we are asking the public to be prepared to be screened, and it's for your own safety and security at events. We would have to plan for the unfortunate. In the event that there are disruptive persons or disruptive behavior, certainly the police force will have an ejection team. We hope never to use it, but if we have to, we will have to use it to have disruptive persons out of events. We admonish you, we strongly admonish you, do not see these activities that the police force is implementing as an inconvenience, but to see it as an investment in your security, your safety, in Grenada's national security. Some operational emphasis, and I heard our CEO mention some took the wind from my sails, so I would not try to sail again in that aspect. But some operational emphasis, I'll just mention a few. Certainly, we would not want to see anyone, definitely at events, venues, with offensive weapon. Illegal narcotics, prohibited items, such as firearm, open flames, and we know persons have a tendency to have especially the aerosol cans at events. That's a safety concern, and we need to address it and prevent it. Additionally, glass bottles, a zero tolerance and policy on glass bottles at events will be implemented throughout all of Spicemas events and also other events during the carnival period. Fireworks and the likes, we do not want to see this. In conclusion, the RGPF is extremely thankful and grateful to the general public who has continued, it's a time-tested process, that the public has continued to support the RGPF in policing carnival activities by the way they behave, by the way they execute themselves. And so on this note, I just want to say thank you very much and God bless you.
Thank you, ACP John Mitchell. At this point in time, we'd like to open the floor to any questions from members of the media. There's a microphone placed at the back of, or center of the hallway that you can use to ask your question.
Morning. Christina John, I represent the Grenada Broadcasting Network. I would like to place a question to the CEO. Last year, there was an element that was introduced, so short, that was introduced called Alva. And that was a part of the last lap where you gave visitors, a little extra before they return to their country, as well as the winners from the carnival events to parade perhaps in their costumes. Would that be an aspect that would be continued this year?
Yes, we are hoping that we will give people the opportunity to have that final roundup, if I may say, of Spicemas.
Thank you. To Mr. Ashialik, I have a question for you. Some persons have complained of challenges that they experienced with Caribbean Airlines over a couple months ago. I'd like to ask if there is anything that is being done to ensure that people come in and who has to make the transition, maybe from other islands to Grenada for Carnival, does not experience anything as such.
Thank you for your question. Absolutely. I mean, we understand that there are challenges with moving and connectivity, and that's one of the reasons why we have really been very assiduous with our continued meetings with the different airlines. We share with them exactly some of the challenges, and we are working with them to ensure that we eliminate a number of those things. We also want to see that everything is smooth and efficient, and people who are traveling, travel with ease. And so certainly we are working along with the airlines, and we will continue to do so.
If I may, to ACP Mitchell, I know we had pop-up events with Jab in little villages here and there before perhaps the major carnival events are rolled out. How does the RGPF plan to deal with those, please?
Thank you very much. Certainly, if there isn't a law, the police can't charge for criminal activities. So I just want to lay that out. But there is a law with regards to events and a law with regards to seeking permission for events. And so I just want to say to persons who intend to have events, whether it be pop-up, jab, to seek the appropriate permission to do so. If you do not do that, then it's possible that you could get charged for it. So please seek the event. We are not here to prevent activities. We are here to help manage and to facilitate in a safe and secure way.
Thank you.
Good morning, Anisha Samuel, the Grenadian Voice newspaper. 2 questions. Will there be the King and Queen of the Band competition? And 2, can you give the public a sneak peek into what can be expected on Friday?
For this year, there will be no King and Queen of the Band competition. However, we are already in discussion with the mass bands, and we are encouraging them that come next year we would like to see the King and Queens return. There are a number of reasons for that. But I will tell you, one of the things that we're doing to preempt the return of it is having them cross the stage. So this year, and I may probably make it a little clearer, there isn't a plan for the bands to actually compete for a Band of the Year title. But we're going to try to have them organized in a manner that they cross the stage in section, and we have already indicated to them we would like to bring back the competition next year, so we could have King and Queen of the band, but not just have the King and Queen of the band as on the street, but have them in what we really call from time to time the Marchga show, or whichever other show we may see it fit to have it associated with. As it is now, based on the calendar of events and the discussion we have, it's going to be soca, the Power and the Groovy Soca Monarch. Oh, sorry, Friday coming. No, so Friday coming for our launch, the preview. So we have the National Carnival Queen contestants that will make a guest appearance. We're also hoping to have what we call Liquor Miss Grenada. Some young ladies who are following suit, they should also make a guest appearance. We have the traditional mass bands, Jab Jab, Veku, Short Knees, they will all be there. And we also have a number of Calypsonians and Power and Groovy artists that will be performing. There will also be and in all cases, the winners, including the Panorama Champs, they're all expected to be there on Friday.
Good morning, Callistra Farrier, The Narrative. ACP John Mitchell, you talked about comprehensive checks at the entrance to these events, but we have been seeing what appears to be an increase in gun violence in the country. Apart from the comprehensive checks at the venues, which we've been doing, I think we've been doing them for a while, what new measures are you contemplating given the environment that Carnival is and more guns seeming to be available on the island?
Thank you very much for this powerful question, and certainly we have somewhat, hopefully, bring to a lower the gun violence and activities in recent times. But the police force in a general context and being led by the CID department, so a lot of what is being done is not being seen for reasons. So there are inter-departments that are established within the CID department and other departments of the RGPF to be able to gather information so that intelligence can be formed and decisions taken with regards to dealing with that specific issue of gun violence in Grenada. And it's something that we are going at very, very hard, and we will not let up. And just an advice to persons out there, do not get yourself involved in gun violence. Thank you.
CEO Noel, you talked about moral responsibility. You talked about I'm not sure if you were advising or asking or telling people to dress modestly, which it's Carnival, so I'm hoping that you can explain that a bit more for me, what you mean by that. But also, my next question, do soca artists receive subvention from the government, from the Spicemas Corporation? They do?
Yes, the associations, they do receive assistance.
So you talked about lyrics. Can we see a condition being established by the corporation that deals with that issue in a proper way? Instead of appealing to the soca artists, are you planning to say to them, you can't get our money if you're going to write that kind of rubbish?
Well, to address that, Callistra, I did indicate it in my presentation that we are looking at our policies, and these are some of the things that we are looking at. And if I may just explain it this way, you make mention, for example, of the soca artists. At this stage, based on the discussion we're having, I cannot tell you exactly what is going to happen. But part of what at Spicemas we want to do is to make sure that we have policies in place which will afford us greater control in terms of the contents of, quote unquote, our event, which is Spicemas. So whether it is from a lyrical standpoint or otherwise, we're really hoping that we can do that. With regards to your first question, it will be almost foolhardy of us if we, should I say, pretend that this is a matter that does not come up. At the same time, we are not in a position to really dictate what happened. But we are saying to our people, and if you notice, and I would say this, I even had a part there of people's moral responsibilities. And one of the things that I'm echoing based on sentiments that be shared around the country is that as a people, we need to get more involved totally. So, and I'll be brave enough to say it, instead of people sometimes pointing finger at Spicemas with some of the things that happen, I think generally we all need to get involved. So if, for example, the non-governmental organization can have little snippets or clips maybe on radio, TV, just indicating some of the same moral standards that I put up, those will help. Whether it has to do with drinking, with driving, with dress, with the music, with the lyrics, and this is part of what we're asking for. Even the church organization, at the end of the day, the event is a national event, and it's really about the expression of our culture. So any contribution that anyone, any group can make to help in making it better, we more than welcome it.
Ignore you on the dress modestly part. It doesn't work with Carnival. You are increasing prize monies. You said major prizes. Is the Children's Carnival Frolic included in that?
Across the board, all the prices are being increased, especially for the winners. Yes, they are.
Evolution. You talked about time. Apart from appealing to people to please come early, what is Spicemas doing to have events start on time?
One of the things we are working on right now and we will do is to make sure all the major events are quote-unquote produced. And in so doing, the expectation is that they would start on time, they would run on time because we're going to have a run sheet and people will be expected. And the fact that we are going to be streaming all these major events is going to be really critical that we get it right in terms of times. In accordance and in working with even people like the Royal Grenada Police Force, and hence the reason why I would say this. For example, we may have realized that a lot of the time shows don't start, one, because we're waiting for people to come in. The truth is that we are taking this aggressive move to start on time. As I said before, if you reach late, we want it to be a case that you miss something. I mentioned police because things like traffic regulation is something we would need and we will get assistance with. Because oftentimes, we also hear we are waiting for more people to come, but sometimes there's some traffic congestion somewhere. So all these are some of the elements that we are looking at that would help us to really start on time. And yes, there are others, but these are some of the key elements. The production, the whole question in terms of clearance, the security check at the points of entry and so forth. These once followed, and here's why we ask the general public to please take heed of our call to make it a better event.
My final question, unless there's a second go around like the post-cab briefings. The islands have struggled with the issue of other shows happening, private shows happening at the same time with Carnival. We had a big issue with that with Panorama here a while back. St. Lucia, for instance, they've taken measures to try to preserve their authentic Carnival products. Are we looking at that this year? Do we have any bookings that are already showing that there will be a conflict in dates with our major events? And also, what policy is Spicemas adopting or currently has that will protect our shows in terms of the scheduling?
With respect to the event, it must be understood that Spicemas as an event belongs to the Spicemas Corporation. As such, we have made all efforts thus far to ensure that there is no quote-unquote conflict. And by that I mean, if we are having a major event, that no other rail organization is having a major event on that same day. Having said that, as I explained earlier on in my presentation, with the evolution, the whole question of the calendar still remains quite dynamic. What do I mean by that? We are still in consultation with all the major stakeholders, including promoters, including the associations, as well as venue events. So we are doing all that we can to make sure that Spicemas as our event remains our event.
Good day, everyone. Nisha Paul, freelance journalist. My question deals with some issues that happened last year. Last year, we saw some of the artists, the entertainers, and some of the usual participants at the Power Monarch, Soca Monarch show, they were actually expressing concerns and so. So my question is, has the consultations this year, has it revealed anything about the concerns that were expressed? And we're also seeing an increase in the prizes. So did that have any impact in terms of that, coming to that conclusion to increase the prices?
On a yearly basis, as I know it, having been involved in Spicemas before this tenure, there is always consideration to increase prices by some level of percentage. And yes, we are fully aware of the happenings last year, and I'll be more than happy to tell you that I expect all of the major power artists to be present, because our prize money for the winner of the Power Soca has gone up to $100,000, and let me explain it. It has moved basically from 50 for the first place to 80,000, and that is in cash. So we hope that in itself will entice people. The other $20,000 is actually in value, in kind. So when we spoke earlier on of the winner of the Power Soca being able to represent winner overseas, these are some of the things we are doing additionally to encourage them, to help them as they continue to do what they like doing best.
Thank you very much. I have a question for Mr. Sita Hall. Well, actually, I'm not sure who is going to be able to answer, but in terms of, I know in an interview with Mr. Sita Hall some time back, some concerns were expressed in terms of the quality of the girls that were coming forward for the to participate in the National Queen Show, and I'm hearing about training, so I'm wondering if there is any aspect, what aspect of training are we seeing to enhance the performance this year?
And I know you directed to Mr. Sita Hall, but I asked him for permission. Now, I will give you just a little rundown for my presentation again. You see, I noticed, but I had up that what we did was a continuous round robin of all the young ladies on island to vie for position to represent the parish. It's called a casting call. And we did that, and I was present, and I'm telling you, the quality of the young ladies that came up to vie to represent the parishes is just absolutely phenomenal. As a matter of fact, I take it a step further to tell you that as of 1 p.m. today, we'll be starting to post all the young ladies. Every hour, by the hour, you'll get to see the pictures and you'll get to see the bio and read up on them. fantastic, intelligent ladies, from teachers and the whole works. You'll get to see it. So I'm inviting you to visit our site. But the quality, you can assure it is top-notch quality we're looking for. With respect to the training, as you ask about it, since we have completed the casting call and the 7 ladies were selected, we have started doing the actual training in all different areas. We have had different people come in terms of speaking with them. We had past queens meeting with them. So the training is ongoing. As I said, it started once we have selected the 7. And think about it. We are in April. This competition is going to be the 6th of August. Think of the time between now and then and how much more we'll expect them to be better than when they just came on.
Okay, if that's it, I'd just like to remind the media that the Spicemas Corporation has an open door policy. So should you require additional information or information as Spicemas progresses, please feel free to contact the Spicemas Corporation through the office and the CEO. On behalf of the chairman and the board of directors of the Spicemas Corporation, I would like to extend our appreciation to you, members of the media, to the viewing public via Mikey Live and the Spicemas Corporation for spending your time this morning with us. There was a wealth of information provided, and as I said, we have an open door policy, so feel free to contact us. Please follow us on our social media pages where you'll get constant updates on all things Spicemas. Once again, on behalf of the chairman and board of directors, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you.